And welcome to Hannity. And tonight we are going to stop our election countdown because really every day is election day. Right now is election day in most states, commonwealths in our country, and it's all across the country, meaning you can vote today, tomorrow, the next day, and you don't need to wait 14 days until officially election day, November the 5th. Now, in fact, it is a good idea, my view, to bank your vote. What if there's bad weather? What if there's another, God forbid, hurricane or some other emergency on Election Day? My recommendation, vote early. Now, it's not the system I want. We've talked about that a lot, but you can't change the system unless you win elections. I also highly recommend that you assume, especially if you're in, well, Georgia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, Nevada, Arizona, that your vote will decide this election, because in a handful of swing states, the margin of error is very, very thin. And especially if you live in those 7 swing states that I just mentioned, it just is what it is. And this race is too important to leave anything to chance. Polls are interesting, however, but there's only one poll that matters. That is what happens when we count the votes for the election. Don't let any poll, good or bad, impact your thinking, your emotions on this election. Let us be very clear. The American dream, in my view, is very much at stake. If Kamala Harris's stated policies, her radicalism, extremism, is ever adopted in this country, I would argue that America that we know today will be unrecognizable in 4 years. Democrats, the state-run media mob, they already are telling voters to scale back your ambitions about what you think the American dream is. Or as even the Washington Post put it, quote, the new American dream comes with a smaller yard. Why should we settle for less? Why should you settle for less? Why should your children and grandchildren settle for less? Don't we have an obligation to leave this country in better shape than we found it, like our parents did for us, our grandparents did for all of us? You know, this kind of negative thinking has been around since Jimmy Carter was encouraging Americans to turn down their heat in the winter, put on a sweater, suffer in silence. Now, coming up, we're going to show you how the Harris campaign is now trying to normalize sky-high inflation, higher taxes, rising crime, mass illegal immigration with free sex change operations. But we begin with some good news. We do look at some polls, but again, don't let it impact you. The new USA Today Suffolk University poll has Donald Trump up by 11 points with Hispanic Americans. Now, Trump lost this growing demographic by 11 points in 2020. That's a 22-point swing, but as always, caution. Remember that red wave in 2022, the one we thought was coming, never materialized. And according to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, fewer than 3 in 10 men in Georgia are supporting Harris. Donald Trump is up by 4, according to the AJC. And meanwhile, early voting has been better than expected for the GOP. But don't take my word for it. Here's left-leaning journalist Mark Halpern. Listen closely.
If the early vote numbers stay the way they are, and that's a big if, we'll almost certainly know before Election Day who's going to win the election. We're going to talk a lot about that. The reasons why Democrats might be underperforming, the prospect that they'll recover. But again, make no mistake, if these numbers hold up in the states where we can understand even partially what the data is like, we'll know that Donald Trump's going to be president on Election Day.
Mark Halpern's a pretty smart guy. According to fake news CNN, the Harris campaign is now, quote, jittery. Meanwhile, NBC News reporting that campaign officials, they are worried that Michigan and/or Wisconsin will fall and that North Carolina is now slipping away for the Democrats. But today, shockingly, Kamala Harris, she took the day off. She kind of took it easy with just, 14 days until the official election day, although every day is election day. She didn't have a single rally. And now Donald Trump, rightly accusing his opponent of being, well, lazy as hell. Take a look.
We're in a race with some very sick people. They're liars. They just lie. They lie about everything. And I was going to hit her really hard on the trail today, but now I don't have to because she's off. She's off. No, I can't get over it. Who the hell takes off? You have 14 days left. And she'll take a couple of more days off, too. You know why? She's lazy as hell, and she's got that reputation. She's a radical left lunatic.
Donald Trump, he was in Florida today meeting with Hispanic business leaders. On Friday, he will sit down for one of the most popular podcasts in the country, the Joe Rogan Experience. You don't want to miss that. We'll have highlights on Friday night. And tonight, Democrats, they're just in a state of utter panic. No other way to describe it. They can't run on Kamala's terrible record or extreme beliefs, so they're going, well, repulsively negative. And now the smears, the slander, the besmirchment, the outright fear-mongering. It's never been worse, and I've been doing this a long time. Earlier tonight, President Biden accused Trump of wanting to shoot and to kill his political opponents and seemingly vowed to lock him up. Take a look.
This is a guy who also wants to replace every civil servant, every single one. Thinks he has a right under the Supreme Court ruling on immunity to be able, if need be, if it was the case, to actually eliminate, physically eliminate, shoot, kill someone who he believes to be a threat to. I mean, so I know this sounds bizarre. It sounds like if I said this 5 years ago, you'd lock me up. We got to lock him up. Political lock him up. Lock him out. That's what we have to do.
Just for the record, the only candidate that has been shot at in this election is Donald Trump. He's also the only candidate facing prison time because of multiple bogus, politically charged investigation from Harris and Biden's weaponized Department of Justice. But Democrats want you to believe that Trump is the threat to democracy. Well, on this very question, even the Washington Post poll shows Americans believe Kamala Harris is the bigger threat, not Donald Trump. Democrats are trying to gaslight the American people. That's all they've got. And now our old friend, famed Democratic strategist, James Carville, clearly, I know James well. I've debated him many times. Clearly in a state of utter panic and becoming a little unglued. James, you might want one of those gummies. Take a look.
This is not an exaggeration, all right? This is not to say, well, he's really not. He didn't mean he's going to really get rid of Social Security, James. No. He is telling you right to your stupid face that he is going to use the military to arrest and suppress his political opponents. But I'm sure that I and everybody else that does this for a living is going to get asked, well, what about the swing voters in such and such a state? That, you know where they could all swing from? The end of a rope.
Wow. Okay, James, you said in an interview you like gummies, and you took one the night that Joe Biden was debating Donald Trump. Maybe it's time. You got to chill a little bit. James, if anyone tries to silence you, Rachel Maddow afraid her show's going to be canceled and everything, I will personally stand up for all of you, and I will fight for your right to be wrong on the airways. I will fight for your freedom of speech. It is not true what is being said. It is fear-mongering at the worst level. The only Democrat that actually got it right was Bill Maher. He was asked, well, if Donald Trump wins, what are you going to do? He goes, I'm going to stay, I'm going to do my show and make jokes about Donald Trump. Nobody's getting arrested. No political opponents are going to be rounded up. Does anyone in the Democratic Party, by the way, have any self-awareness at all? Apparently not, because after lecturing the American men last week, like he did, and accusing them of outright sexism, quote, the brothers, to quote Barack Obama, he's just perplexed. He just doesn't understand how America got so divided. What about all the people who had their homes raided, pre-dawn raids, fake news, CNN cameras, all the people associated with Donald Trump, arrested and fingerprinted, mugshotted? I guess what they're saying is, they don't want what they did to Republicans done to them. And by the way, it shouldn't be done to them. It shouldn't have been done this time. But take a look.
No, this election's going to be tight. It's going to be tight here in Wisconsin. It's going to be tight all across the country. And it's going to be tight because a lot of Americans are still struggling. And people started feeling like no matter how hard they worked, they were just treading water. So I understand why folks are looking to shake things up. And I know it can be frustrating. Look, I do not watch cable news. I really don't. There are times where I don't understand how we got so toxic and just so divided and so bitter.
Notice he said treading water. He's acknowledging that for the last 4 years that Harris and Biden have failed. Now the Washington Post is talking about lowering your expectations. Maybe you'll have to buy a townhouse instead of a home with a backyard. But really, Barack, what I really want to know, I guess I'm one of those bitter Americans that cling to God, guns, my religion, my faith, or maybe I'm just an irredeemable deplorable, I guess, right? And if we believe Jesus is Lord, by the way, and you say it at a Kamala rally, guess what? They will tell you are at the wrong rally. Anyway, Biden Democrats, they keep saying that Trump Republicans are a threat to democracy. Well, why don't they run on their great economic success? Ask yourself this. Their closing argument is fear, calling Trump racist and a threat to democracy, and, of course, Mussolini and Hitler and Stalin. Why don't they run on the great success of the economy? Oh, that's right. Barack said we're treading water. Or that the border is safe and secure, which they told us for 3 years. That's not true. And how American towns and cities are more safe and more secure. No. Defund, dismantle, no bail laws kind of stop that. And that you're paying a lot less at the pump. And for energy, we're paying about $1.50 more a gallon. And what a great economy we have, and what low inflation we have, and we have a world. Well, we have war on 2 continents, don't we? That's right. Nothing has gotten better under Harris and Biden and their failed policies. They've failed. Americans are suffering. It's an obvious time for change, and that's why we see nothing but smears and slander and besmirchment and character assassination from the left. In fact, Democrats and their friends in the state-run media mob, they have compared almost every Republican to every evil, leader in memoriam from Hitler, Stalin, Mussolini, and on. And don't even get me started on the Russia hoax and the left's love of censorship in this country. Many on the left are even hyper-partisan when it comes to trivial matters. Now, this week, the New York Times bashed Trump for not properly preparing French fries during his stop at McDonald's. And on TV, the hysteria was worse. Whoopi's upset that he didn't wear a hairnet. Take a look.
Forever he was saying she never worked at McDonald's. She never. Right. So now he took himself to McDonald's. That was McDonald's that was closed, and he wasn't wearing a hairnet, which really bothered me. Yeah. No net, really? I don't want your French fries.
She actually worked in a McDonald's. She didn't go and pander and disrespect McDonald's workers by standing there in your red tie and take a picture.
He worked briefly as a fry cooker, without a hairnet, I might add.
Oh, like he carried weapons in a war zone that he never went to, and that he was a head coach, but he wasn't, and that he said he had one rank in the military that he never achieved. We still don't have an answer to a pretty important question. Why is Kamala Harris even the nominee and not the guy that actually won the Democratic primary by millions of votes? Is that a threat to democracy? Tonight, during an interview, Kamala still could not answer that question. Take a look.
Can you say that you were honest with the American people about what you saw in those moments with President Biden as you were with him again and again, repeatedly in that time?
Of course. Joe Biden is an extremely accomplished, experienced, and capable in every way that anyone would want if they're president.
And you never saw anything like what happened at the debate night behind closed doors with him?
It was a bad debate. People have bad debates. He is absolutely.
But that's the reason why you're here, and he's not running for the top of the ticket.
Well, you'd have to ask him if that's the only reason why.
What do you think?
I am running for president of the United States. Joe Biden is not.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.